Well, joining me now is NBC News investigations reporter Tom Winter. And Tom, you've been following this all along. I know we were stunned like many of us were when we first heard the news. Your thoughts? What are you learning right now?
Well, I think, a couple of key things here. One, we really need to figure out why he was taken off of suicide watch. This incident that happened with him where he was found with marks around his neck was a little over 2 weeks ago. So it hasn't been that long since we've learned of this possible attempt by Jeffrey Epstein. And so what was it that took him off of that? Who requested that? So I think that that's something that we really need to pay attention to. At this point, we need to figure out, where does this investigation go forward from here? This does not stop prosecutors and federal investigators in the FBI from continuing their investigation into people that may have conspired with Jeffrey Epstein, may have recruited these girls. So we're going to wait and hear about that. So I think there's more questions that need to be answered at this time as far as A, how this happened, and B, where does this case go?
Do you think it kind of gives those other investigations new life, especially considering the mystery of his death?
Oh, I don't think so at all. I think this just keeps it going. I mean, I think that these were very active investigations. This was a covert investigation undertaken by the FBI here in New York and federal prosecutors here who kickstarted this case in New York that led to his arrest, barely a month ago. And so I think with that, with that investigation, they've just now been able to be a lot more out in the open. What does that mean? They've been able to send out subpoenas. They've been able to engage and kind of try to talk to more people, or a larger group of people. In that type of investigation eventually becomes public. So I think when they're doing that, they're just starting to get the information back.
The FBI investigating this, Inspector General's office investigating it as well. Right. Surprising to have that?
No, I don't think so. Well, I don't think so with respect to the Inspector General. The fact that the Attorney General is also ordering an Inspector General to look at this, I think when you have a high-profile person that dies in federal custody, I think that they need to look at were the proper procedures followed. Did MCC do the right thing according to the BOP guidelines? Were any steps missed? Could things be improved? That's typical. What is a little bit atypical is that the FBI would look into this. We're being told that they're doing that out of an abundance of caution, no sign of foul play, but it is unusual for them to take a look. But I think given the nature of this case, they really need to, and they are.
Hey, really quickly, this is a well-known facility. The New York Times 2 years ago called it a gulag in Lower Manhattan, but it housed El Chapo, it has housed Paul Manafort, a number of high-profile defendants.
Yeah, it's housing Paul Manafort right now. It held El Chapo during his trial. This is a facility that is used to very high-profile defendants. Most of the major terrorism cases and terrorism suspects that have been held or occurred here in this country, they've gone through MCC because a lot of those cases have gone through the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York here in Manhattan. So, this is a facility that should be able to handle somebody like Jeffrey Epstein that knows how to handle these high-profile defendants, and they're going to have to answer some questions as to why this happened and why we are talking about his death here today by an apparent suicide, because it raises questions by anybody that's taking a look at this.
No doubt. It is an embarrassment for the system indeed as well. Tom Winter, thanks to you.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.